You had a busy week, huh?
Yeah, we were just in Nashville for Nashville Veg Fest. It was so crazy. Have you ever been to a Veg Fest by chance?
I don't think so. No.
They're fun if you ever get the chance to go. It's just a bunch of plant-based vendors that are like new companies, so you get to try like a ton of free samples and like a ton of free food, and then you could buy. It's kind of like, have you been to Reggae Rise Up?
No, but similar concept.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a bunch of like food trucks and like stuff, and they just vend and you know, like it's just really cool. It's super fun. They have them all over the United States now. So wherever you are, like wherever you be, because where are you in Florida right now?
Punta Gorda. Not too
So,
far.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just had one in Bonita, but they're everywhere. So you should go.
They're growing too, I'm sure too, in occurrence and everything.
Yeah, like crazy. But what else did you? It's honestly how I started like this journey of mine with like zero waste, and it's through like my intention 49 day like challenge. You know, that's what led me to go zero waste. So
that's awesome.
It's been awesome. So ask any questions that you have, and I'll kind of just go off on tangents.
Okay,
that's
cool. Well, I kind of have like a little outline, but it's nothing crazy, so just introducing yourself, and then you can maybe just jump into that. That's a good segue, that project, and just how that was a big catalyst, I guess, to where you wanted to be in life, and just growing in self-awareness, and I guess why you continued, you know, to do it. If it was like the fulfillment thing, or you liked the people, or, you know, whatever. So if you get stuck, just don't hesitate. This is a learning experience for both of us. So
yeah, for sure. So okay, so I started out when I was younger. My mom was always bringing me and my brothers outside. We were never a family to be indoors ever. So instead of playing with Barbies and dolls, I was outside like collecting bugs and like capturing mice in my bug jar in my backyard in Chicago. Like, I'd literally catch mice and bring them inside and be like, oh my gosh, Mom, look what I got. She's like, what? Like, bring that outside. And that's just how it was. I was always like integrated into the environment. So that's always been a passion of mine. And like, as I have been, you know, as I grew old and into middle school and high school, and as we kind of build that like egoic self, and kind of like stray away from our true like non-duality, I really got confused and kind of set off track by like social constructs and society standards, and I kind of lost touch with my intuition with the environment. Even though it always stayed, it was kind of, I never wanted to be portrayed as like that hippie that does this and that, whatever. I was always like really into athletics and singing, so I kind of wanted to be known for my musical abilities and sports abilities rather than just like relaxing outside and you know, playing in the dirt. So, and like I said, it kind of stemmed from me being a large, like I was definitely a chubby chunker when I was younger. And so when I was actually through a meditation practice the other day, I realized that because I tried to like go far away from my identity, it's because I was trying to be as far away as possible from that girl when I was in elementary school, like the big girl. And I think that seems to be a common pattern between women that were like chubby when they were younger. I've reached out to a lot of girls, or I've like talked to a lot of girls how like that has really like, how do I say this or make sense? It kind of it makes you want to put on mask on you, who you are, and like really like be as far away as possible from like the tomboy chubby girl. Am I making sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's that social construct thing, right? You know, you want to be a peppy
totally
girl.
The social
it wasn't, you know.
So then I was always like then I really got into, the typical high school, like trying to look my best all the time, wear a lot of makeup, that kind of thing. Really straying away from the environment, and which is my true passion, sustainability. It's always been who I am, and living simply and ethically. And so when I was 15, I saw that a local juice bar was opening up, and I knew I was so drawn to this place that it aligned with all of my morals and my interests. So I went and applied, and I got the job, and I just worked with a ton of wonderful people that were really into the environment, and they were into sustainability and healthy eating and living. And through them, they were all like in their late 20s, early 30s. So I was like this 15-year-old being immersed in this like amazing culture. And that was when I kind of like kicked back right into who I was. Like, this is my passion. This is what I have to do. Like, I have such a passion for health food and helping people, become more in tune with their bodies and their surroundings and their like eco-spirituality. So I went to a ton of workshops, and I went to a lot of meditations when I was younger. And then I came to FGCU because we have the food forest and the sustainability clubs, and everyone seemed to have a really strong sense of community. So I really loved, like when I came on a tour and I saw the food forest, and they all came and introduced themselves to me right away. When I was on a tour, I was like, that's it. Like, I need to go to this school. Mm-hmm. So I came to FGCU, and I got even more into the sustainable lifestyle. I met you, went to climate change conferences, got involved in some clubs like with meditation and whatnot. And then with the meantime, I'm vegan, and I'm really into health, and still like trying to minimize my own waste. But it wasn't until I went on a trip to Nicaragua that I really became mindful of like my consumption as a human being. Just, with using single-use plastic, since when in Nicaragua we had to save all of our trash when we were there and bring it home with us to the United States because they can't dispose it properly. Mm-hmm. So I brought everything that I wasted in Nicaragua back to me to the United States in a small bag. And because I was being mindful, like, okay, I can't waste a lot. Like, I have to bring it all back with me. So I was just, by being mindful, I was able to save a lot of single-use plastic consuming. And when I came home, I was like, how much am I wasting in 1 month in the United States? So that led me to start Futuristic February, that campaign that I ran in February, where everyone collects their single-use plastic and non-perishable items for 1 month, and you see how much you accumulate in 1 month. And I was like blown away with how much that I wasted in 1 month. I had like 30 kombucha bottles and so many, like a lot of vegan snacks come in single-use plastic. So I had a huge bag of all these plastics. And I was like, well, here I am, for basically my entire life, like always thinking I'm a sustainable, eco-conscious person, but I'm still contributing to the problem. So everything I've been preaching has technically been hypocritical. So I really got into the zero waste movement, and it has been the best movement I've ever been a part of, because it aligns with everyone's morals. Everyone should be trying to go zero waste, in my opinion, because you're avoiding single-use plastic, you're saving money, you're becoming more in tune with your body, and for the reasons that when you don't eat or when you don't use packaging in terms of food, everything that's preserved has to be packaged, So when you try not to use single-use plastic, you're eating a lot more raw fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and things that are processed with heat and whatnot. So that's why it's good on a health scale, but also everything with the ocean that, plastic never breaks down. It just goes into micropellets in the ocean, and, the fish eat that, and it disrupts the ecosystems and the coral reefs. And so that's from the environmental perspective, but also because since I've gone zero waste, meaning that I try to live a low impact lifestyle as much as I can, so using reusable razors and toothbrushes and bringing reusable bags to the grocery store, it has saved me a ton of money because I've had to change my diet to like a package-free diet for the most part. Mm-hmm. So by doing that, I'm eating like the purest foods, and then by buying bulk foods in the supermarkets, you save a ton of money. So
that's awesome. And another big thing that I learned about the, I guess, how transportation and climate change and the zero waste can impact that is the amount of trash we are, producing. It has to be picked up and transported somewhere, and then it has to be, somehow or another burned, or some turn it into compost. There's a bunch of different processes, but it does take, again, more energy to process it, transport it, etc. So it's scary to think, and it's stinky and dirty. It's crazy, but we take it as a, for granted, because it's like every week. It's just throw it away, go to the side of the street, and someone comes and picks it up, and you do it again the next week. And
of course, and that's why I ran Futuristic February, because you had to keep it for a month. And I think that people constantly, they use plastic, throw it away, use plastic, throw it away, and they never see how much they accumulate. And so they never see how much they accumulate. So there's that quote, like, when you throw your trash away, where is away? Mm-hmm. And in the landfills, in the incinerators, in which, the energy is transferred. And if it's heated, that's still going into the air. It's still going to the ozone layer. It's still going into the oceans. So that's kind of what I tell people. I go back to that quote fairly often, like, when you throw your trash away, where is away? Because there is no away. And that's why we're so trained to reduce, reuse, recycle. But what about refuse? Reduce, reuse, recycle. Refusing is the first step. So that's kind of what I'm trying to tell people. Like, what I'm trying to do is refuse, and then reduce, reuse, recycle. But I'm still like finding little things that I do every single day. Like the other week, I switched over from Q-tips to a zero waste Q-tip, and there's still some things that I have to transition to zero waste, but for the most part, I go days without producing any waste, and it's amazing because I try to, and that even includes like, biking everywhere, rollerblading. I have a hybrid car, so getting places on electric when I have to drive. All these little changes that I'm making to my lifestyle, all are part of the refuse and then reduce, reuse, recycle.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So how do you feel about, I guess there's two ways you can go about making change in the world. And, one way is to target, the political government side, or just individually take it upon yourself to consciously choose to, make it an effort, again, take action, and, find the places where you can buy in bulk, support people that are doing the local thing, zero waste themselves. Is that something you hope to do in your mission? What is it all? Because you just love teaching people? Tell me more.
So right now, I'm not necessarily interested in the, campaigning for, on the political side. Mm-hmm. I'm not very into the law aspect. And like, I'm more of like the educational, like I'm starting to speak at middle schools and high schools and some colleges and educate that way to the actual consumers. So obviously, like you said, there needs to be two parties for this. You need to have the educators, you need to have the people that are in the government side and lobbying. And although I do love protests, positive protests though, I have been involved in a lot of negative protests, and it is really not, it takes a lot of energy out of me, and it's very draining, and I find that I'm less like self-sustaining that way because I waste a lot of energy being angry rather than fighting for positive change. So for me, with my personality type, it just makes sense for me to go to colleges and elementary schools and whatnot and educate that way, and help people find like these little transitions and these little like switches they can make in their lifestyle, and then they get more into the movements, and then it's like a chain reaction. So whether it be someone's trying to go plant-based to reduce the fossil fuels, reduce their carbon footprint because of animal agriculture, it's such a huge footprint, as majority of people know, that leads to them thinking about, okay, like I'm doing something amazing for my health, and whoa, and the environment, and whoa, what about like, what can I do with plastic consumption now? Can I go a step further? And then people just like want to go step further and further and further into it. So it's all about like educating the masses for me. And so like planting those seeds in like the younger population in elementary schools and middle schools, that's the next generation that's going to be implementing all these change and creating those like new social constructs for middle schools and high schoolers. And like, you know, the new like the new cool thing can be to bring a lunchbox or bring your own utensils. So they're the ones making those decisions. So if I can educate them and make zero waste and sustainable living be a new norm, that's pretty much my goal.
Cool. So I mean, you definitely have a strong following on Instagram. Is there any others that you really try to influence through, or is it just Instagram for now?
I don't have a YouTube and I don't have a blog, because a lot of my energy does go into Instagram, and I find it extremely effective because it's an app that everyone uses. Eventually I will do a blog and YouTube as I finish up my degree. But for the time being, I try to spread all of my information on Instagram, and that way it's kind of like a little timeline where people can go back and look. So that's kind of like the most effective way, and people, they love seeing the posts that way. So a lot, and attention spans are definitely shorter, and I think a lot of people don't even read full blog posts anymore. So that's why Instagram captions are the most effective that I've seen.
And your message is, I mean, it's like straight to the point, so it's almost one of those things you don't have to detail, but it's cool to see in action. I think that's the most inspiring, is like, okay, you can talk about it, but it's also just living, embodying what you're preaching. So there's a lot of people who will preach something but not necessarily living it out, and it's really cool to see someone every day that's going strong and committed. And then of course your campaign, it's amazing because it's really changed the way I can see change through something like that through Instagram, or just again one individual taking that initiative to just do it.
That's exactly the point. I don't want anyone to feel bad about how they live at all. And that's not my position. Everyone's on a different journey. Everyone's learning as they go. And I wasn't zero waste for 20 years, so I could never judge anyone for living a lifestyle. And I never want anyone to feel judged when reading about my zero waste lifestyle or my vegan lifestyle. So for me, it's just all about leading by example and like showcasing this lifestyle and being like, hey, like I'm living a high vibrancy life. I'm so happy. I wake up every day knowing that I'm doing something amazing for the planet. And it's as simple as me going back to the basics. Like I have a lot of people that are saying, Carly, what you're doing is so cool, and I wish I could do that, and all this stuff. And a lot of people tend to put my lifestyle on a pedestal, thinking that it's somewhat unattainable for them. And I kind of have to look at them and be like, don't put me on a pedestal at all. All I'm doing is going back to the basics of living. I'm trying to be as minimalist and simplistic as possible. That's all I'm trying to do. And then once they kind of realize that and realize that these are things they can implement like in every aspect of their life, they're like, okay, I see that now. Like I can totally do a meatless Monday. I can totally switch over from a plastic toothbrush to a compostable toothbrush because it even costs less, So when people can kind of get that state of mind, that's, like I said, when the chain reactions happen and people start to really like implement change in their lifestyle, just so they can see like these are all tangible things that I'm doing. And like I said, just trying to go back to the basics. That's like the best I can call it.
And as far as like the money thing, it's definitely cheaper. Yes, you're able to save more money because
it's cheap. It's so cheap to be zero waste. It's crazy. So like in Florida, we are blessed because we have so many farmers markets. So I go to the same farmers market weekly, and I've said to the farmer market, like the people that are vending, I'm like, hey, I will be a customer here if you cut me deals every single week. So I'm trying to not use any plastic. I'm not going to the grocery stores anymore because they use plastic stickers. They use like plastic bags for things like organic apples, things that just don't necessarily make sense. So I go to a local farmer's market, and like I said, I say, like, if you can give me a deal every single week, I'll come back here and I'll be a loyal customer and I'll tell everyone about you. And that was kind of a big step for me, like bartering, I guess, because I've never been one to barter, but kind of going zero waste and, being that person that brings your own bowl to a juice bar and like you say, hey, can you put my acai bowl in this bowl? People kind of look at you funky. They kind of look at you like, wait, what? Like, what is she doing? And you get some stares, and that's why it's okay. I tell everyone, like, be weird. Like, do it. Who cares? Like, you can't. And I think a lot of people are just really scared of what people are going to say. Like, humans just have fear. And so, when I bring my own bags to the store, and people, people see like me putting beans in a reusable bag, and they're like, what is this girl doing? Like, they think it's weird because it's not a norm yet. But like I said, going beyond fear, and I wasn't used to bartering, and I was really uncomfortable with the idea almost because I felt cheap, I guess. But I kind of was like, Carly, this is like, that fear is such an illusion, like there is no need to be scared to ask for a deal. Like, I'm supporting this farmer and they're going to support me, and we're going to help each other grow, and we're both trying to be sustainable and do amazing things for the environment. And so I asked, and they're like, heck yeah, like, we want your business and we want you to spread the word about us, and you're doing an amazing thing trying to emit plastic. Like, yeah, let's work together, let's do it. And so now, it's just establishing relationships in that sense. And that has saved me so much money because I don't purchase the expensive organic produce that's in the grocery stores. And then that way, when I go to farmers markets, I'm able to support organic, support local farmers, and I get to eat with the seasons, eat locally. And I know that all of what I'm eating is a low, has low greenhouse gas emissions and a low carbon footprint and all that stuff. So, and buying in bulk is extremely cheap because it's, when you go, you're not using any packaging, and I'm not really sure because they buy it in large quantities, so they're able to sell it at a low cost. So buying bulk is amazing. And then you get into all these like bulk recipes. You can just Google vegan and bulk foods recipe, and there's hundreds and hundreds. But a lot of people don't know about them. So it's all about using Google, too. A lot of people, whenever they have questions...
At least 10 times a day, I'm sure.
Yeah, seriously. A lot of people message me questions on social media, and I'm always so happy to answer them, too. But a lot of what I've learned is off of just Googling, like, about zero waste living. And following people that are zero waste already, too. That's helped a lot.
So where do you shop in Bonita Springs?
So there's a Bonita Springs market that's every Saturday, and there's also a place called Shangri-La. Do you know Shangri-La? So they have organic produce that they sell every week, so I go there once a week. Then also a local grocery store, Lucky's Market, they have 10% off organic produce every Sunday. So sometimes I'll go there and I'll bring all my bulk bags and my bulk mason jars, and I'll fill up on organic peanut butter from the bulk section, and they have bulk vinegars and oils and herbs that I fill up. So they pretty much did a lot of stuff there. So if I can't get anything at a farmer's market, I'll go to Lucky's because they support other local farmers as well.
That's so cool. Yeah, it's unfortunate that it's not everywhere yet, but in time it will. I'd like 5 years from now everything to be transitioned, but you know, it's just takes people like yourself.
You know, a lot of my friends, like one of my friends owns Millennial Brewing downtown Fort Myers, and ever since I've become friends with her, and she's watched me go zero waste, and now her brewery, they banned straws, and they have discounts if you bring your own mug, because whenever I used to go there, I'd bring my own mug and get kombucha on tap.
Mm-hmm.
So she saw me doing that, and she was like, okay, we'll offer discounts when people do this. And then they also switched to compostable cups. So, you know, it's by me doing that, she was able to change her business, and now people are going to her business and changing their ways. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's all a closed loop circle.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like the trending microbrewing thing, because that's, again, kind of targeting a big industry, but bringing it local and creating community again. And that's what I think this whole movement is doing, you know, behind the scenes. It's bringing everyone a little bit closer together and closer to nature again. So it's wonderful to see it all happen.
Yeah, you know, I think that a lot of people have really lost touch, obviously, with nature, and a lot of people think that they're outside enjoying nature, mm-hmm. you know, whether it be they're on the beach, like for spring break or all these things, but they're not necessarily having like an intuitive experience with the land, because they're still drinking out of plastic water bottles, or they're using sunscreens that have a lot of pollutants in them that are going into the ocean. So as I was going to Nashville, like if you've ever driven up 75 that way, there's a lot of billboards and advertisements, and they're all of like places that serve like a lot of fast food, like Chick-fil-A mm-hmm. and McDonald's, a lot of like strip clubs and sex stores, and all of these distractions to like keep people distracted from what really matters. And I think that as I've been in contemplative life, I've realized that a lot of the problems that I've ever had have just been like distractions from like the true meaning of living. And because I live like such a minimalistic, high vibrancy lifestyle, it's really brought me back to a place where I'm able to have that connection with the planet and the environment and the ecosystems in my backyard, and be able to immerse myself in nature and actually feel it. And I'm not sure the general public would even understand what I'm saying, but I know you understand what I'm saying. It's just a different connection that you have with the land. And growing up, I like for family vacations and stuff, we would even go do things like tubing and boating and what else? Like maybe
skiing?
Fishing.
Do you ever go out in the snow? It's like skiing, snowboarding?
Yeah, mm-hmm. exactly. And, doing those things. And we're always outside, yes, but it was always around, like, it was never having, like, an actual experience with the land. It was always, like, a distraction with being outside. It was always a distraction with being outside. So now that I've kind of, like, erased all of those distractions from my life, I'm able to have, like, a stronger connection with, and have a stronger, like, nature consciousness experience. And that's also what I've been trying to do, too, like, help people, like, eco-spirituality and realize that, all of our problems are illusions, essentially, and they're all, like, created in our heads. And that's a totally different topic, obviously, but it does really tie in with living my lifestyle, because I'm trying to, like, minimize distractions and, like, pollutants in my body and, like, give myself, like, a clear state of mind and, like, a clear way of thinking without, like I said, being, like, polluted, because our brains are so polluted with advertisements and carcinogenic food and carcinogenic plastic that we're using. And that's also another positive of not using single-use plastic, because all that's leaching into our water and our food, which is, being stored in our tissue and interfering with like our nervous system and endocrine system. So that's just another plus.
Yeah. It's the whole interconnectedness of everything, and it's really going back to that holistic being of, mind, body, spirit, and again, just balancing everything. It's
exactly.
We've definitely overconsumed and produced way too much, and it's time to kind of pause, take a step back, and implement more solutions. So what are you in school for still?
So I'm integrated studies,
okay.
And I've taken my courses around like eco-spirituality and consciousness, sustainability, and because I was initially in environmental studies, so I'm still in like sustainability courses, and I've taken a couple leadership courses to help like me understand how to communicate to like masses about sustainability and eco-spirituality. So
cool. And you found that those are helping you?
They're amazing. Like my professors for those courses, they're just so open-minded. So I'm able to really communicate with them about anything. And, they don't worry about silly things like turning in a paper in the wrong format or, being a couple minutes late to class. Like they're very understanding of, everyone's situation, everyone's different, background stories, but also they're realists and they understand that, if she didn't turn it in the right format, whatever, she, for example, my expanding consciousness teacher, Dr. Byrne, he doesn't have formats for any of his papers because he just wants us to free write and make all the connections in our head about expanding consciousness and be able to put that on a piece of paper and turn it in. And he's not going to mark us off for not putting the date in the top left corner, So teachers like that are very philosophical and, just open-minded, those are the people I've been in communication with over the past couple of years with my major. And those are the people I want to be in touch with for the rest of my life. And those are the people that I want to surround me. So when I transitioned to this major, it's really helped me come in contact with my best friends because it really has taught me like who I resonate with.
That's awesome. So do you feel like the students in your class are pretty receptive or a little distant to some of the information you've shared? Like, because you do like presentations, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, I've done presentations. I've done a couple presentations, and a lot of them are extremely interested in high vibrational living in terms of food and reducing pollutants in your body and your life and consumption. Definitely some are interested. Some definitely look at me like I'm a hippie and I don't shower. So, I definitely get mixed reviews, but overall, I kind of just plant some seeds, and if someone's not ready to hear it, the information's there, and they can come back to me whenever they want. But, it kind of just makes people second guess when they go home, and that's really all I'm trying to do. Like, you hear, the information, now it's in your hands to do something with it.
Exactly, and that's how it should be done, educating, and that's the whole mission of, this interview thing is I want to get the most important, like, change-making people, I guess, that I've interacted with or, cross paths or even research, whatever the deal is. But, like, sharing that there is good happening in the world. There's definitely people, taking those initiative and leadership status to, again, just kind of turning back to government and, not caring about that side of it, but just opening to a whole new world of what we really should be connected to anyways, which is, again, nature and each other. So it's really wonderful to have you on here and sharing all this, because this is all
that's the thing,
what I want to do.
Said with the government. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, that's what you kind of, like, you touched on, obviously the corruption and, like, in the government. And so it's this is, like, me exploiting those negative practices in a positive way. And instead of, like, spreading hate and, you know, ideas of corruption and the government's doing this and that and that and that. It's more of like, hey, here's what's happening, but here's how you can overcome these problems. And everyone votes with their dollar. No one, you know, if we don't support Coca-Cola, if we don't support companies that are extremely wasteful with our dollar, they're not going to be successful. And, you know, these corporations, like dairy companies, are buying vegan companies now because they see that vegan companies are making the money. Mm-hmm. So greed is essentially going to turn the world sustainable and plant-based and more holistic. So, you know, it all comes down to the consumer voting with their dollar, and eventually things are going to change. They just have to be a mindful consumer.
Yeah, and I say it all the time, but we are the conscious creators, so, you know, just, again, taking that daily practice and just being mindful and, you know, bringing it to every space you walk into and leave, and continuing that, planting the seeds and watching them grow.
Exactly. And that's something like, that's something I took away from you. Like when we went to Power Change, you were just like really positive all the time. I remember when we were protesting, you know, on the streets outside of McDonald's and a couple other corporations that use a lot of fossil fuels and are really unsustainable, and then watching those same students go to those places for dinner. And it was disheartening. And I remember I was traumatized by that. And, you know, that's when I wasn't necessarily into consciousness and I was really judgmental. And I was sitting there, like, kind of bashing these people. Like, they were just protesting outside in 90-degree weather for hours.
In the middle of Orlando.
Exactly. And they're going to eat at those restaurants. How do they not know that's wrong? But I was a sustainable person using single-use plastic just last year. So when I made that connection, I was like, whoa, I was so judgmental to all those people, but that was just a reflection of myself, you know, and I was doing the same thing. So that's also why I never point fingers anymore. That experience really taught me to not point fingers anymore. And talking to you about it, you were just very positive about the whole ordeal. You were just like, that's how it is. You know, we're going to move forward. Just keep being the light. And that's something that's always stuck with me. Just, we're the change makers. That's what you said. Like, we're change makers. That's who we are. And that's what's coming. And everyone's on their own journey. And we're all, you know, just trying to spread the light and, you know, see what ignites. So
yeah, and it's monkey see, monkey do anymore. So the more we get, you know, doing the good thing, we'll see more change happening quicker. So yeah, this has been really good. It's been 41 minutes. Can you believe that?
Oh my God, really?
So I recorded it. I have like my iPhone set up facing the iPad here, so hopefully it'll work with the sound quality and everything, but if not, we'll do it again, right?
Yeah. I'm always here too. For sure.
So have you become more comfortable, like, with you sharing all this information? You know, I guess more confident is the question.
Yeah, like I've shared a lot about my story, especially on social media. Like, I really use it as an open book. Like, as I'm finding like the hypocrisies of my life, I think it's because Instagram is such an illusion, like, it's very difficult for me to even be on that app. I'm not gonna lie. Like, It's really hard for me to put so much energy into a platform where people, I guess, and you don't have to put this on there, but like, they sometimes like just assume that I have like a higher worth because of the following that I have. And it's like a bad episode of Black Mirror. Have you ever seen that show?
I mean, heard of it. No, I honestly, as far as detoxifying, don't have cable, don't have TV, don't have Netflix.
Right. No, but that's the thing.
Heard of it.
I don't watch TV. I don't watch TV at all. But someone told me to watch this because it's so trippy. And it's so true. And it's because people, like, because I have a certain following, they think, like I said, I have, you know, I am like a doctor, that I can answer anything, that, you know, I'm doing something that should be looked up to. And that's just not the case. Like, I'm a student and I'm learning and I'm a human being and I'm no greater than anyone else. And that's why it's kind of like a really scary place. So with that being said, I'm just trying to use it to help other people make connections.
Low battery.
They're living with, like, their lifestyle, and just try to help them make connections, like, because I'm so comfortable sharing about my past. Like, I really am at this point, like, about my eating disorder and, like, trying to fit in, because I was just so uncomfortable for way too long, so unnecessarily. And, like, of course that was my journey, and, like, I'm really, like, learning to forgive myself, like, a lot of my past. I think I've been, like, relatively hard on myself in the learning curve. It's kind of like, I compare it to when people start meditating. They get really angry at themselves. Like, why can't I meditate? Why can't I, you know, have a clear mind? And then it's kind of like, once you release that judgment, that expectation for yourself, that's when you start practicing, you know? And, like, now that I've kind of released judgment on myself and started forgiving myself, like, now my journey is starting, like, essentially, and now I'm learning a lot about myself so rapidly. And, like, I really do find that sharing my story, like, just helps a lot of people evolve and, like, make those connections within themselves quicker. So because Instagram is an illusion, like, I'm just really trying to use it to help people, and not, like, live like a facade and showcase it like a lot of accounts do.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate, but actually I've had a conversation with someone about this pretty recently, but I think we all do it. It's not necessarily our most authentic self that we are showing on there, because we want it to look like, for lack of, our best self, you know, but there are definitely lows and highs that we encounter every day that we're maybe not showing. But my perspective on it, or I guess argument, was, well, I don't want to put the negative BS on there, because that's not my intention with my platform there. It's to share more positive things. So, you know, that's kind of where, like, Facebook, I'll share not negative things, but more informative, I guess, conscious choice making, rather than Instagram is like, yeah, no, this is, like, example setting, if that makes sense. So
yeah, no, I understand that for sure. Yeah. And, like, that's also kind of how people are going to implement change as well, because they see you doing all these amazing things with, like, climate change, and you're living a more conscious lifestyle, and they'll be drawn to that too. And you're also transparent on how it is, and it's all about being real too. Like, you just have to be transparent, just have to be real. And if anyone asks me a question about my life at all, like, I'm going to be real, like, and that's just how and it's so easy living that way, because I'm never caught up in any lies.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this is how it is, and if you don't like it, bye. So it's like, it's so easy. It's like, once I kind of realized that, like, lying is so unnecessary, and a lot of people lie through social media platforms. So if you just don't lie, you don't have anything to cover up, you have nothing to worry about. So
show up
that's
your
why
best
I
self.
don't, you know, it's never for me, like, if someone, a lot of people worry about aesthetics and how they look, and that's just, like, really what I'm trying to refrain from. And of course, I totally get caught up in that sometimes. Totally not going to act like that doesn't happen. I catch myself doing all the time. But if I catch myself doing something, I sit with it, I think about it, I journal about it, and then I try to implement a change.
That's awesome. More power to you, sister.
Yeah.
So you still working somewhere right now, or just school?
So I'm working with my boyfriend with his vegan protein company, because I'm trying to help him make it a more sustainable company.
Okay.
To turn to, like, because, like, ever since I met him, like, now he's making a protein powder in a compostable container, and now his protein bars are going to be biodegradable in packaging in a couple months. So I'm just trying to, like, help him, and then I'm like doing that on the side, then doing a couple like public speaking things on the side, and then just finishing up my degree. So.
Yeah. Are you doing it out of your goodwill, these speaking events, or are they paid?
Yeah. No, I'm not getting paid for the events. I'm just traveling. Sometimes I'll have them cover travel.
Sure.
But they're mostly like clubs from schools that can't afford it. So
why would you want?
I'm just.
And that's not what it's
about. I still want to help.
I hear you.
Yeah, of course. And I know it all comes back for sure, because I've been like really blessed with like a lot of companies helping me out through social media. So it's all coming back around.
That's awesome. Well, do you want to finish with any last words for fellow interviewers?
Yeah, I guess whenever I like talk to people, whether it be on like podcasts or interviews, whatnot, like kind of what I conclude on is just like to release judgment and expectation and just start living, honestly. When I started, like, when I stopped expecting things and judging others for who they are and how they're living, that's when I've kind of like transformed my lifestyle and my outlook on life, and I've just become more of a positive, like, vibrant person. So that's something I practice in yoga every single day. I've been like blessed to know. Do you know Edric?
Is he? What's the place called in downtown Fort Myers, or no? Or does he do it at the Habitachi?
He does it at Habitachi, LA Fitness, around the clock. He does so many studios.
I think
everywhere.
I might have met him. Yeah. Edric, he's
but he's like an amazing person. He's really I love like the mantras that he recites in his yoga classes, and he just always says like, this is all an experience, so just take it as it is and go with it. Just realize that any problem you have is an illusion, and you have the ability to internalize any problem. You have the ability to feel sad, feel happy, so yeah, that's all I got to say.
Conscious choice making.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Yes, ma'am. All right, cool. Well, that's all I've got. If you're finished, I'm super satisfied with this, and I'll run through some edits, and yeah, we'll upload it and share it all, and I guess I'll send it over to you to have you watch it if that's cool, and then like share it if that's all right. But I don't think we talked about anything that would be like offensive or like at this point. I mean, it's freedom of speech. I'm not political. This is just a platform of sharing, connecting.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
So it's all good.
For sure. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah, send it over whenever you're done. If you need anything else, and I can send you some recs for other people to do too. If you ever like run out of people to interview, like there's just so many. So
okay, yeah. And as of now, it's still just me kind of doing it all. So if you do hear anyone like interested in video editing or anything silly like that, definitely looking for a little bit of help. Obviously, I can't do any payments or anything like that. Just be strictly volunteering. But even if you're interested, just helping me find people to interview, and I'd be happy to do the rest from there. But yeah, just creating a list and
a lot of people
sending it over.
There's a lot of people that I could have you interview, honestly. I know there's a lot of like really cool people that I know. So I'll definitely, like, as they come to my mind, I'll just send over their profiles or their like contact information.
Okay, cool. And yeah, so the Planet Protein, that's the name of his thing. Okay, and I can find all that on, because I'm going to want to like tag and, pretty much market for you guys as well through this stuff. And that's the, the purpose of it as well, just business to business. And I think it's going to be a beautiful ripple effect, and I'm very excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'll help you as well. So I got you too.
Cool.
And it'll be cool.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks for thinking of me. If you need help in the meantime, just let me know. I'm always here.
No doubt. Yeah, next time I'm down there, we'll have to get together and find lunch or something.
Yeah, seriously. Wait, so are you here for a while or no?
Yeah, because this job, I don't know, everything I feel like is changing so fast. Because what I would love to get back up to the mountains. There was this restaurant that I ended up working at for 2 months up there. Made very decent money. It was stress-free, fun, you know. There was like fall weather. It was just a whole bunch of new things, and I really enjoyed the time. But like down here, my job is just not the greatest. And again, for what I'm trying to do with this interview things, like I don't need to be, I can't work a full-time job. I don't want to. It's like heavy going 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, having 2 days off.
Yeah.
Like, it's disgusting. And I knew I would never be fit for it. But like now that I've tried it for like 4 months now, I've really realized a lot about, again, myself and what I really want to do in life. And I know it's not exactly work for another person, or, you know, I want a flexible lifestyle. I want to be able to do what I want when I want to do it.
And yeah, obviously I live with Brendan, and so he's an entrepreneur, and he's really taught me entrepreneurial skills. And that's why I've been able to utilize like my platform to be entrepreneurial. And it's not easy. Like it's so much work, but you know, it's worth not working a 9 to 5 one day, working for someone else, like creating my own business, my own brand. And that's the goal, you know? So, because we shouldn't be in the matrix like that. It's not how it is anymore. We're like, you know, we're exiting the matrix. We're becoming conscious. We're getting back to the basics, you know? So, yeah.
Exit the matrix, back to the basics.
Yeah, for real. I'm all about these little sayings. I gotta write these down.
Yeah, that's a song, girlfriend.
Yeah, seriously. I'm gonna use that. Exit the matrix, back to the basics. Oh my God, I'm gonna say that. I'm talking to college on Wednesday. I'm gonna say that. They're gonna be like, what?
No kidding. Just all things considered, the other music they're listening to is no better.
Yeah. I'll be like, all right. Yeah. Go listen to Jay-Z. Well, yeah. All right, cool. Like I said, I'm here all summer, and I'm only taking really 1-2 classes over the summer. So if you want to meet up, like April's pretty busy for me because like I'm finishing like this semester, and I'm in 22 credits